Yo, what's really good, YouTube? It's your boy Blackpowerstick, right? This is a response to my two brothers and my two YouTubers, 78fight News and Bloodboxing. It's a response to the conversation they had, and it was a very interesting conversation because I'm actually 100% in agreement with them. The reason why I'm in agreement with them is because they talked about black people needing to learn hand-to-hand combat, and I'm in agreement with that. And I can say I'm lucky that from when I was 6 years old I was into the whole taekwondo thing. I was into the boxing thing. I've always been into that. That's always, those sports have always been my sports. I've always learned, I did kickboxing, because my uncle did kickboxing. My mum's brother used to take us to the parks. Me and all 6 of my cousins, they used to take us all to the parks and make us practice fighting drills and Thai boxing drills and all of that. We was doing that from when we were 5 years old, and because within me and my cousins, at the time I was the youngest, and there was a 4-year gap between us, and we had to all practice with each other. And I will say it like this, I can say that it kind of got our minds right. It did get our minds right, and I can admit black people do need to learn hand-to-hand combat and so much other things and basic soldiering. You see, I remember growing up seeing you see these little white kids doing Boy Scout groups and shit like that, and you see black people on the street man, look at them fools, man, they look like a little prick in them brownies and cup shirts. But what people don't realize about them little scout groups and stuff is they're teaching you survival, because when you join these scout groups you learn how to do surviving in the woods, you learn how to make traps, how to trap animals, you learn about how to make all these basic traps, you learn how to do survival in the woods. Now back to the hand-to-hand combat thing, it's imperative. You see, it's even worse, because one of the things I realized growing up in school, I used to fight a lot, and not only did I used to fight a lot, but it was a case of every week my mom would get phone calls from her school saying, your son's fighting again. Now, even though, good thing I was winning, because I never forget. You see, as my mom's got brothers, and because of the way my dad was, my dad having 7 brothers, so there's 8 kids, all boys. My dad had no sisters. My dad and all of his brothers used to always fight. They used to always fight with skinheads in their area in East London, and East London is historically been a white racist area prior to a lot of black people moving there. So growing up, my mom also see my dad get into a lot of shit with racist skinheads and my dad's brothers, and also my uncles. So I never forget once when I was younger, I got beaten up by one guy, and all I remember is being taken. I remember going back, telling my mom and one of my uncles that I got beaten up. All I remember is going with them to the person who I got beaten up by, and in front of them I had to fight and beat that person up. Otherwise I was getting beat. And my mom said it like this, show, either you beat his ass or we beat yours. But again, the thing is, the whole single mother culture is changing, because I see these single mums now, they got their 6-year-old kids in skinny jeans and mohawks, and when you tell them, yo, why don't you take your son karate classes, why don't you take him to boxing? No, I don't like boxing, it's too violent. You've actually got mothers claiming that these sports are gonna make their kids violent, when I tell them the complete opposite. It makes them more calm, it makes them more disciplined. You see, in the black community, there's a lot of anger and rage in the black community, but we don't know how to channel our anger and our rage. So yes, as black people, we are forced to act out of character. So yeah, there's a lot of anger, but we don't channel it through nothing. Now I would also say, as a part of growing up, when I was doing all my taekwondo when I was 6 years old and 8 years old, because the group of kids I done it with, we all went to school together. So from when we was younger, we were all practicing in school in the playground who could kick the highest. But now, so it was also healthy competition, because we were always every week trying our best to practice a move so we can always be better. But now when Blood was talking about how like a lot of the white dudes are in the gyms training, I will say this is also a financial difference, because sometimes these gyms are expensive as hell. But my response to that is simple. If you like, if we're in the UK, if you go to a gym and it's £5 a time to train, and if that say martial arts session or MMA session is £5 a time, be simple. Instead of going 3 days a week or 5 days a week, pay £5 1 day a week, and everything you learn that day, practice it in the park. You know what's funny is as well, I also know, and I've seen it personally, I've seen guys who do martial arts training practice in the park every day, and some of them have they don't know me, but some of them have said to me, yo bro, do you want to come and practice with us? And you know, I've been involved, you know, because I know some basic Wing Chun, and you know, I know my basic moves. So sometimes if I've got time, I'm involved too. And then these same people, they will tell me, yo, if you know anyone that wants to do Wing Chun, or anyone that's interested in learning basic martial arts, tell them to contact me. Some of them will even tell you that they don't even want no money for it. Some of them just enjoy teaching. You see, like I think one of the things that black people are guilty of, and this is the reason why we never have time, we never have energy, and never have money. We don't prioritize our time, and we have poor spending habits. So when you don't prioritize your time and you got poor spending habits, when it's actually time to look at things which are important, you're never gonna see them. You're never gonna acknowledge them. You know, one of the things is as well, I find it funny when we got a lot of women saying, these black boys are lazy. But then my response is, who do we come from? But you know, it's all about black people learning hand-to-hand combat. You see, I've seen girls fight, yo, and it's like, I mean, I'm gonna put it in my link box, the Oakland hair salon beatdown. Now, if you see the way these girls are fighting on this video, you end up saying to yourself, hold on a minute, how is it these girls can fight like that, but these guys can't? You know, another thing, and this is terrible as well, I said to a guy once, I said, yo, if you don't like the way someone deals you, punch him up. And this boy said it to me like this. He said, yo bro, I can't fight, I'm not gonna lie to you. He said to me, that's why I just stab people, and if I ain't got a strap in my car, I'll wait till I see them, I either stab them or I shoot. Now that's the kind of state that a lot of black people are in. You see, one of the things that I also remember, you see, my uncle's generation and my dad's generation, they used to do this shit a lot. If certain people had issues, they would make them go around the corner in like a little council block. All the whole crew stays outside, and two guys go in that block and start fighting, and whoever comes out comes out, and if you don't, it's too bad. And my dad's boys, they used to do that shit a lot. You know, two guys, if you had a problem, you and that guy you had your problem with, you went in that block, and you had your fight, and then whoever comes out comes out, and then it's over. You know, another reason why I'm glad that you know, me and all my cousins, we knew how to fight from the get-go, was because where we lived, there was an East London gangster family called the Hunts. They're all out in Essex now. And one thing about the Hunts family, we had like a little water fight with them, but then it got racial. And then all I remember is one of them wanted to fight with one of my cousins, and it was a whole case of my whole family versus their whole family. It was going to be a big fight. But then, even though that all got squashed, but the whole principle was it was going to be a whole family fighting another whole family. There was no knives or nothing, but everybody was going to have a punch out. You know, one of their cousins had an issue with one of my female cousins once, and even that shit had to go down. You see, one of the things is, I realized as well, a lot of black people, when you show them things on YouTube which they can learn from, they don't want to take the time to look at them. You see, one of the issues is as well, I think, not only is it where are black people's priorities, I think a lot of things black people do is in the name of impressing females. And but then at the same time, and not only is it for impressing females, we've got a lot of these guys that are so focused on looking good in the name of what females do, they're not even thinking about their own physical and mental health. And what people don't realize is, I mean, in the UK, black people are most likely to be diagnosed with mental health disorders. But when you actually do things like martial art training, running, all of those things to stay physically well are actually good to help balance out you mentally. But so yeah, and I also, my boy once showed me a website which had it was a UK based website with like a white national group taking little 5-year-old white kids into the bushes, teaching them survival techniques. You know, you go on I saw something about some racial group in Russia. We have a presenter, Ross Kemp. He does Ross Kemp on gangs. And when Ross Kemp interviewed this Russian gang and a Polish gang, he went to the mountains with them, and they were all practicing martial arts training, and they claimed that they're doing it so they can be ready to fight against the blacks. There's not much black people in Poland or Russia, so I don't know who they want to fight against, but the point is, that's what they were doing. You see, one of the things that a lot of black people don't realize is, when people look at us and train for us, they train to the best of their abilities. But when you tell black people about, yo, if you want to do stuff, you have to be prepared. If you want to make things work for you, you know, things have to be prepared. It's a process. Everything you do in preparation is a process. But then you see, one thing as well, black people are too guilty of trying to find the shortcut every day. You see, one thing about this London riots, what the London riots taught me, is as black people have no social, political or economic power, there's only two weapons we really have, and we use one of them a bit too well. The first weapon is our mouth. The second weapon is our physical body, our physical appearance. Now, I'm not promoting that these black youths are going out rioting, but again, you've even got all these racist national groups who are like football hooligans and shit, who love to go out and fight, and they was out looking for the black boys to go and beat their ass. Because one thing the London riots did is it gave them all the racial groups a chance to say, see, we're defending England from these mindless thugs. It was racial. So now I'm gonna put some videos in the link box, and with the videos I put in the link box, it's gonna also beg the question for a lot of black people on, do they think they should be prepared? Because one of the things is as well, a lot of us are having children at younger ages, and I'm seeing black kids and black boys actually admit, they'll openly tell you they can't fight. So as these black boys are telling you that they can't fight and they're having children, what does that tell you about the children they're gonna have? You see, it also begs the question why so much black kids are getting rude to their parents. Because it's like this: if you're a parent and you can't fight and you can't defend anything, how the hell are you going to be mad at the fact that your child don't respect you? Your child's going to look at you as a pussy, and by the time he's 17, he'll be able to beat your ass if he can't already. You see, that's something that needs to be understood, because it's not like a case where you're hearing about fights in the clubs. Guys are getting stabbed in clubs now. You know, I remember when I was with one of my boys, and he was with I was with one of my boys, and we had to check one of our other boys, and we saw his little brother, and his little brother was mad because he said, come with me so I can beat this kid up. I said to him, why do you want to beat this kid up? This boy told me that he had a one-on-one fight and got beat down. And we laughed at him and said, yo, you had a one-on-one fight, you got beat down. You win some, you lose some. You know, we've all had our fights, and we've all been tucked in, as we like to say. We've all taken our licks. We've all taken our beatdowns. That's a part of your rites of passage. That's your boy to a man experience. The reason why, as well, I think these black youths got too much access to knives and other things where they don't have to fight. Because what I've realized, all these kids that have a mouth on them, you give them one punch in their mouth, it's like they freeze. They don't know what to do after that. That's all they need, is one punch in their mouth. And now the reason why a lot of white boys are getting brave now is because a lot of white boys are spending money, going to the gym. A lot of them are watching movies where black boys are always getting beaten up by white people, so their psychological ego is high. And then it's even worse because we've got black women who just think black men are useless now, and that black men can't defend them. So that's why so much black women are now saying, oh, I have to be the man in the house because these black men don't want to do nothing. Black men don't want to step their game up. The point is this: our inability to defend ourselves physically, spiritually, financially, and socially and economically has even allowed our own women to show a lack of belief in us as black men. So yeah, black males especially, you do need to learn hand-to-hand combat. You do need to learn the basic soldiering skills. Even if any black man has a chance to go camping for 1 week, I'll tell you do it, because guess what? When we look at the Tottenham riots, houses were burnt down. So now, if your house was burnt down in a riot, you are going to be forced to survival skills. You will be forced. And as you're forced to survival skills, you're going to have to, you know, learn how to domesticate and work with what you got. Because if your property's burnt down, you got nowhere to go back to. You see, I saw a video on YouTube where this woman was crying because the food stamp office in Atlanta, Georgia, never had her food stamp allowance. Now, black people, anytime you have to ask for what you want and beg for what you need, you're set for failure. So I have to big up my brothers like 78fight News and Bloodboxingreturnz for doing that video, making it clear that black males need to learn hand-to-hand combat. Because I say it right now, when I'm ready to have my children, the first place they're going to, even if they don't have to do it as a career, but they learning their Wing Chun, they're learning boxing, they're learning all of the martial arts drills, they're learning all of that. And it'll keep them busy too. That's the first thing I'm teaching them. Because I don't ever want to hear that some white kids are going to be bullying my children. I don't ever want to hear that I don't want to hear that my kids are being put in a position where they don't know how to handle a situation. And guess what? As we now know in the UK and in the US that all these skinhead racial far right groups are preparing for us, we need to be prepared in all forms for anybody that steps in our way. Because we've got too many bootlicking Negroes that will defend these far right groups against us before defending us. We've even got our own women that will defend these far right groups against us as black males. So yes, black males, as we're at such a triple threat, we need to make sure we're ready in all forms. So yes, that's the physical aspect via hand-to-hand combat, via learning martial art drills and running and skipping, and you know, basic pull-ups so we can pull our own weight. The whole spiritual aspect so no one tries to violate us spiritually. The whole psychological aspect so we can get our mind right and no one's blocking our vision for progress. Economically so we can put our money together and build with our money. And then you know, so I've dealt with the whole spiritual side of things. I've dealt with the whole physical and the economic side of things, because we need to make sure we're able to defend ourselves in all forms, and as black males defend our image. But anyways, man, big up my boys 78fight News and Bloodboxingreturnz for that video, man. It's your boy Blackpowerstick, man. Get at me.